to another fantastic video. Today we're going to be talking about basic principles of the Constitution. So these are founding or foundational ideas that help create our Constitution. Okay. So in your notes, I just want you to get the basic principle and then the definition or the description. And don't worry about putting an example down because we'll do that in our deep dive. Okay. So starting off with popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty is this idea that the people hold the government power. Okay, so whenever you hear the word sovereignty, I want you to think of me putting a crown on my head. Okay, because if you are sovereign, then you are the person who is in charge of a specific area. Okay, so popular sovereignty means people have the power. Okay, next we've got representation. Remember in your study of American history, you know that our colonists, our founding fathers, were really mad because they were not well represented or represented at all, really, in their government. So, the concept of representation, that the people are represented somehow in government, is a really big deal in the United States. Next, we have federalism, and federalism is the division of power between the states and the federal government. And we've talked about that many, many times before. And if you would like me to rap about it, remind me in class, and I will. We also have limited government. We've also had this as a term before. Limited government is the easiest term definition you'll ever have. It just means that the government is limited and not absolute. So there are certain things that the government cannot do. We also have the concept of rule of law, which is one of my favorites. I love it. Rule of law means that everyone is subject to and not above the law, meaning it doesn't matter who you are. If you do something wrong, if you break the law, you're going to be held accountable. And that's one of the really cool things that we have in the United States. We also have due process, which is the procedure. There are certain things that have to happen before you can be deprived of your life, liberty, and property. So if you do something wrong, we have to give you due process, or we have to give you those steps in that, or those procedures that you get a trial. You are told what you're accused of. You have the right to defend yourself. All of those things are part of due process. We also have judicial review, which, of course, was established by the landmark case Marbury v. Madison. And judicial review gives the federal court, so not just the Supreme Court, but the federal court system, the ability to look at an act or a law and determine whether or not it's constitutional. And judicial review really increases the power of the federal court system because it's an unchecked power. And we'll talk more about that in class. We also have separation of powers. And we've talked about this before as well, that in the United States, our powers of government are divided among 3 different branches so that no one person gets too much power. And last but not least, we have checks and balances. And checks and balances goes really closely with separation of powers in that every branch has responsibilities in the other branches. So each branch has to check up on other branches to maintain that balance, to make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing, to make sure that the Constitution is being followed, and everything is going just as it should. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. If you guys have any questions, please let me know.